Well, hi. In this film I'm going to be fitting a new motor on my sewing machine. Now, it's not because my motor's broken. At the moment my big harness machine has what's called a clutch motor. Now, clutch motors are strong, powerful electric motors for sewing machines, but the downside is you can't really slow them down. And I want to be able to get my machine to run even slower than it is with its reduction pulley system that I've put on there. So I'm going to fit a big 1 horsepower servo motor. Servo motors are lovely and quiet, don't use very much power, and really they are the modern form of motor nowadays. I have got one on one of my other machines and it is very nice to work with. So I'll pop this servo motor on, take the speed right down, and then with my speed reduction gearing I'll probably have it down at about 150 revolutions a minute. So that will be fantastic for doing nice slow stitching. I'll take you through. So this is my large harness maker's machine. It's a Singer 133K8 and it will punch through virtually anything. Lovely big powerful machine. And if I take you down, I have to put a film up about this machine actually. If you have a look underneath, there you will see my clutch motor, and that's a fairly standard clutch motor. It's been working actually very well because I've put some reduction gears on. I'll actually take us in a bit closer. So here we are under the machine. You can see it's a 1/2 horsepower motor, and I've actually added this little pulley system underneath, and it does take the speed of the machine right down. But I've been doing quite a few bags and other jobs where I want to do some fairly intricate sewing. I'll show you in a minute actually, and it would be great if I could actually take this speed down to almost, a stitch a second, and then I can really control and do very fine work, which is what I want to be able to do. So in comes the servo motor. I'll just show you one last little run on this clutch motor. So there's switch on. With clutch motors you always get a background humming, so the motor's spinning ready to do its job. There's a foot pedal, just here. If I press that the motor will run. So it's not a bad setup, it just runs a bit faster, even with those reduction pulleys, than I would like. That is actually a 1425 RPM motor, so I do get the speed down to about 500 RPM, but I want to get it a bit lower. Well, here's my box of trouble. A new 1 horsepower servo motor, a speed controller, and a box of electronic wizardry. And so that's what you get. And that's what I need to fit. I will also just show you one of the bags I've been making. Well, here's one of my bags, just to give you an example of the sort of thing. This is a lined bag, so I've lined it with PVC, put a little zipper in, a little compartment there. And it's sewing around this sort of thing here, where I've done a little bit of hand tooling, and you want to sew a nice accurate line. It's very difficult if you've got a machine running quite quickly, so I want to be able to do some of the finer sewing more easily. To do this I actually switched the machine off and did it by hand, but it would be great to be able to do this sort of thing on a machine as well. I really do enjoy making bags actually. It's one of the things is in my blood, and Sarah's been doing some research on the house and we found it used to be called Bucklehurst. Buckle as in, well, leather buckles, hurst as in wood. Seemed rather appropriate actually, and a saddler used to live here, which seems even more appropriate as I've now got my leather workshop and I'm really enjoying my leather working. So anyway, I have had a stamp made up with Bucklehurst. I'll show it to you. So here this is my little leather stamp, which is great for marking vegetable tanned leather. It gives a lovely impression, and it says Bucklehurst leather and there's an acorn in the middle of it. Had this made up actually in Hong Kong by a CNC machinist, but it gives a lovely impression. Well, there are some instructions with the servo motor. They're not the easiest to follow, so we'll see how it goes. Well, here's a closer look at the motor, and the motor, I mean, that's a 1 horsepower 750 watt motor. It's tiny. It's weird. I'm so used to woodworking horsepower motors, which are really quite large by comparison. But you look at it and you think, gosh, how would that power things? That's, just take this up a little bit. Sorry, that's the throttle lever in effect. And then this box is a control box. Should be, in theory, not too difficult to mount, because it's got 3 slots here for bolts, and I think the idea is you can probably bolt them on and off what you've got already in the way of a clutch motor. I don't think I'll need very many tools for this job, so I've got the most likely ones out. What I need to do is remove that motor and remove the switch unit. Because the new motor, it comes obviously with that control box and it has a plug on it already, so no need for any of this wiring. Well, the switch unit's just held on with a couple of screws. That's very straightforward. And I've just disengaged the foot pedal, so that's now off. So next job is to take these motor mounting bolts off. Well, the motor removal was very easy, just undo 3 bolts basically, and that motor's off. It weighs a ton, it really does. Well, I've just placed the new jack servo motor on top of the old clutch motor just to see if the bolting slots line up, and they do. Just thought I'd place both motors side by side just to show you the huge difference. So that's the new servo motor, that's the old clutch motor. At the moment I've just placed the new servo motor roughly in position. I haven't tightened the bolts, but it does to show you actually it's an exact bolt on, bolt off. I've now bolted the motor loosely into position, and it comes with a longer rod for the pedal control, which is just as well, so I've just popped that on loosely as well at the moment. I got a new belt, so that's all ready to go in, and it does actually, surprisingly, I think just about fit. But I just need to realign my pulley wheel here very slightly, and then I'll be in business. Well, apart from mounting the control box. Well, I've just tensioned up the belt, so there's a belt tensioning screw at the back, so that all seems fairly straightforward. So yes, the wiring has joining blocks, a bit like computer sockets. So there's one of the other joint boxes, so they just clip into the controller box, and it's obvious which one's which because there's only a certain number, and the 2 I've got, it's one of the 10-wire connectors and 6-wire connectors. The other 2 there, one is for if you want to put needle position on the machine, which I gather isn't such a good idea on the heavy duty machines, they get a bit confused, and the other you can put a 5-volt supply on for little LED lights if you want to. Right, well, it's all installed. At the moment I haven't put the cables away neatly, and I need to be careful they obviously don't get caught in the pulleys, but I just want to check it's all going to work. Switch on. Now that's looking fine. I think that little LED going around tells you the direction of rotation. I suspect it's all too fast at the moment, but I will try it out. Oh, that actually is rather nice. Lovely and slow. Now, it does say here on these instructions, on the interface press P and then the digital show V. I don't know what this is all about. Oh, there, I think that's supposedly the V. Press S, show the speed value. Yeah, it's very fast, 27. Continue, press S, you can adjust speed value. Ah, that's very slow. I think 500 is the slowest it does. So I'll put it on that at the moment. When adjust, if small point of digital is twinkling, means adjustment is not saved. Right. The way to save adjustment, press P. Show OK. I think I had that. Means success. Right, so now if I do it, hopefully if I... Yeah, So that's actually set at 600. I've probably got that one off, but oh yes. That sounds lovely and slow. I'll put the camera up and you can see. Right. Oops. That's lovely and slow. That's what I want. Right, my only other question now is, does it have the power? I've just put 7mm of veg tan under, so I'll just see if that actually starts and goes. No, the belt's slipping, so I need to adjust that by the looks of it. Yeah, I need to tighten my belts. Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Nice and slow. That's quite a thick bit of leather, so it's obviously got the power. It's not saying it's overloaded, which is great. Take the speed down a little bit. Got only one bit of leather left now. Yeah, that's very nice and slow. That's what I want. I'd just rather it be slow and steady, a bit faster. Yeah. That's good. I'm very pleased with that, and of course the motor doesn't make a noise while it's not running either, which is the lovely thing about a servo motor. So there you are. Really, to make the conversion fairly straightforward. Well, I'm very pleased with that conversion. A nice quiet motor. It's got sufficient punching power, and I really have slowed my machine down, which is exactly what I wanted. I'd rather just go one stitch at a time and get something nice and accurate than rush it, so that really suits me. And if I want to at any point, you can adjust the speed on the servo just by changing those parameters in the box, so you can make it go quite quickly. Anyway, I hope you found that conversion useful. Obviously fairly straightforward, and well, could be quite useful if you want to perhaps convert one of your own machines. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.